Hello, thank you for joining me today on ASTIC Media. It's quite an impressive day, isn't it? Precisely. So on ASTIC Media, we get to update you on issues and happenings across the globe, and we give you undiluted information. That is the facts and not the what you call rumor or speculation. Basically, what the facts are. You can actually verify yourself if you try to go research. My name is Esther Wachiku. So let me start off with this very interesting update. You know that as 2027 is approaching, we're already in August, very soon September, and before you know, Happy New Year 2026. The political atmosphere in Nigeria is really getting tensed up, and a lot of dramatic events are unfolding. Trust me, what you think it is today is not what it is going to be tomorrow. And the interesting part of everything is that Nigerians are no longer sleeping. I mean, the level of awareness, reading, concentration on the political trajectory in this country, I must say, all right, above average, that it is quite impressive. And I hope that this collective responsibility of a demography that usually used to be dormant will be consistent, to become actively involved and follow all the political trajectory in the country. If we say we need change, we need to actively be involved to what? Implement change. Now, this is basically what has actually transpired. So you remember that very recently, right? A particular high court in Nasarawa State ordered INEC to give the JuliusAbure faction access codes to upload list of candidates from the JuliusAbure faction, all right, on the INEC portal. Remember, by-elections were supposed to take place in August 16, and if you recall, INEC said they did not recognize all of the officials or elective officials or nominees from the Julius Abure faction. So, in other words, when INEC said they disown them, they do not recognize them, they organized a protest, went to INEC office, granted media interviews, said they were going to court. Now, you recall that the CTC judgment from the Supreme Court was still pending. That is, INEC had not yet decided in terms of either recognizing Julius Abure or not recognizing Julius Abure. So that High Court actually mandated INEC to give Julius Abure's faction access codes to upload the list of their candidates, or for us to hear, possibly towards the night, where the Independent National Electoral Commission withdrew its recognition of Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party, citing the expiration of his tenure and the binding judgment of the Supreme Court delivered on April 4, 2025. The Commission's position, as contained in a sworn counter affidavit filed at the Federal High Court, Abuja, appears to have finally settled the leadership crisis that has plagued the Labour Party for months. And let me tell you, as it stands, based on INEC's verdict in terms of interpreting that CTC judgment, there is no Labour Party chairman, neither is there any Labour Party secretary. So as it stands at this moment, there is no officially recognized Labour Party chairman or officially recognized Labour Party secretary. In other words, INEC said they do not recognize Julius Abure because of the fact that his tenure ended in June 2024, in line with the ruling Supreme Court, which dismissed his claims for lack of jurisdiction and nullified all earlier rulings that affirmed his leadership. But INEC did not recognize the Nadi Usman faction. INEC did not recognize the Nadi Usman committee. So right now, there is no official leadership, or rather official committee per se, that is being recognized by INEC of the Labour Party. So they are in limbo until maybe they are going to take on some necessary steps to make sure that a National Executive Council committee is held or another convention will be held where INEC will be given a notification. Now, based on this clarification, would you call this a good news? You know that PeterObi recently asked his supporters to vote candidates in the ADC because INEC had refused to officially recognize the officials of the Labour Party whom were nominated for by-elections. So Julius Abure said, you know what, support the officials for these by-elections in the ADC since there's still a couple of issues with Labour Party and the Julius Abure faction. A lot of you have been calling on PeterObi to be decisive, calling on him to work hard, telling him to place his leg, like be in one place. Let's know that this is where you are. Apparently, these were the workings on the ground. They were working to ensure that things were properly done within the Labour Party, Would you say this is good news? You remember the other time that Datu Baba Ahmed tried to reconcile situations in the Labour Party with Julius Abure. Was Dati aware that this particular thing was going to happen with INEC? You remember that there were indictments on INEC for deliberately delaying and having to announce who is a chairman or who is not the chairman of the Labour Party. So, would you call this a good development for the Labour Party? Would you also say that this is the time for the Labour Party to put its house in order? The Apex Court has given a judgment. INEC has recognized that. So, the next thing is to have a convention. So let's just say, possibly, that the Labour Party may be having a good traction in the political scene. And we hope it is not too late. But then, we'll still be looking into how events unfold. JuliusAbure is yet to speak. The factional secretary, Obiora Ifo, is yet to speak based on what INEC has actually done. But let's just say that things may be looking good, all right, for the Labour Party, especially for those who supported the Labour Party because of PeterObi. Now, interestingly, I don't know if you remember, there was the House of Representatives actually directed Ibrahim Alyo, an APC lawmaker from Jigawa State, to substantiate his allegation that members paid to present motions and bills in the chamber. Alyo, who represents the Hadejia Alyo Kafin House of Federal Constituency, told constituents that legislators spent as much as 3 million naira to introduce bills, motions, and petitions on the House floor. I don't know about you, but to be honest with you, I have heard that that is what these lawmakers do. They do that. If you don't do that, you may not even have a lot of persons to support your motion to present it in the House. Sometimes they could just put it aside. And that's why a couple of them feel that that was how the other opposition members, who are not the majority in the House, were supposedly subdued. And in order for their bills to be heard, they had to join the All Progressives Congress. They literally bully them, not physical bullying, but in such a way that when you want to bring up bills and proposals that represents the interests of your constituency, if you're not in the ruling party, it wouldn't go. In fact, they will advise you that if you want your bills to pass, if you want your bills to go through, go and join APC. That is the only way you will have an edge or a listening ear. And to make it kind of funny or ironical is the fact that the person who made the statement was an APC member. Some people used to say that some of this House are Fulani guys. They don't know how to mince words. When they want to spill, like they literally spill undiluted and they're brazen about it. They don't go like this, like snake. Then they go straight, they go just talk her. Now let's person say, shut up, not be everything you're supposed to talk. But this guy came out to say, so again, he said, since I was elected as a member in 2015, no individual has given me a bill to pass, either from Auyo, Hadeja, or Kafin Hausa. They are just pretending. That's what he said. And also, even the bills and petitions are paid for. You have to pay from 3 million naira, 2 million naira, or 1 million naira to present it. And after you present the bill, you must follow up by lobbying the whole 360 members of the House to accept the bill. I don't think he's lying. I heard that this was what basically made some Labour Party members, some PDP House of Rep members, and senators to defect to the APC. They'll literally tell you that that's the only way you will garner support when you want to present a bill in the House, and that if you don't do so, you're on your own. It wouldn't even pass. It may not even be considered. The measure may not even be looked into. You may not even have other people to support your proposal. So, again, the House of Representatives took note of the viral video in which the Rep. Ibrahim Usman Alyo, who is a member representing Hadejia Alyo and Kafin House of Federal Constituency of Jigawa State, who alleged that members of the House received payments to sponsor motions, bills, and petitions. And they said that these bills, or rather the allegations, are unsubstantiated and if left unclarified, risk undermining public confidence in the National Assembly. So they are saying that statements of this nature must be backed up by verifiable facts and presented through the appropriate parliament channels. So when the House is now saying that this thing should be investigated, they're taking action over the lawmakers' claims. God knows whether they'll bully him to silence, or maybe they'll ask him to come and apologize to the House for making such a statement. Who knows, they may even vacate his seat. Anything happens. Once you start exposing the truth in this National Assembly, you become a target. You saw what happened to, what's her name, the Kogi State House of Representative, Natasha, when she said some things. And she actually made these allegations when she was addressing the press. She said they will bully you. She said there is a hierarchy, there are gangs. If you don't join the existing top ranking gangs, if you're not part of them, you will not be considered. Opposition don't even have a chance whatsoever because the majority in the House is All Progressives Congress. So with what this lawmaker is saying, could there be a real verifiable truth that indeed this is how things go? Because I've heard it not more than twice that that's how they go about it. If you want your bill to pass, you need to lobby, like serious lobbying. You need to speak for them, and some of them will give you conditions for them backing up your bill. That maybe possibly either money or promise them something or let them be in charge of a particular proposal of a contract you want to do in your community or in your in your constituency. They'll tell you they have one contractor that they know. You have to give that particular job to that contractor. There are different things that they could ask you to do for them if you want them to actually support your motion in the House. Okay, interested. I want to see how the House intends to go about this and how they intend to ensure that it is properly backed up. Now, there are talks that, what's his name, Atiku Abubakar, they have stepped down for PeterObi to be the ADC presidential flag bearer, and there's a possibility that the vice could be either Aminu Tumbuwal or RFI. Now, Atiku has come out to say that that story is not true because for him, he very much believes that it is the handwork of the APC that he never ever stepped down for anybody or said that he stepped down for Peter Obi, that they're all in a coalition. That is just the handwork of the APC trying to create chaos in the coalition ADC. Okay, now I'm sure you remember that Amnesty International released a report very recently where they talked about the brutal killings in the southeast. They say the killings were perpetrated by Ibubagu, the Nigerian police, the Nigerian army, and that the crime and criminality has gone on for so long from 2021. They gave a very high number of casualties, death, displacement, torture, and even organ harvesting of these young children and young teenage boys. So, the Inspector General of Police, Kaide Egbetukun, has ordered a comprehensive institutional review of the 128-page report recently published by Amnesty International. The report alleges a pattern of extrajudicial killings and human rights violations by the Nigerian police force and security agencies in the southeast. Are you saying you're not getting reports and complaints by community members that this is basically what has been going on in their communities in the southeast? Imo State is literally deserted. Most people no longer live there anymore. Crime and criminality is the order of the day. Investment opportunities cannot take place there. People are so afraid. And you're saying that you're not aware that these crimes and criminality are ongoing. You people say the Southeast is a drought in the nation, and you can't tell me you can't invade this forest to rout out these individuals. There are pits where they bury human beings. There are pits where they bury corpses. The anarchy in that state has gotten so bad, and the state government, especially headed by Hope Uzodinma, has been mute while his state has been ravaged. A couple of people say it was deliberate, but some political machination. He wants to be like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a stronghold in Lagos. But did Bola Ahmed Tinubu kill people in Lagos or allow for his state to be deserted to have a hand or a hold in Lagos State? Well, I want to know what you think about all of this because there's a lot happening that maybe some people know and some people don't want to say. I'd like to know what you think in the comment section about this. So, interestingly, you know that the APC and the PDP by a Canadian court has been declared as terrorist organizations just because they refuse to admit one particular individual asylum who has been in the political party of the PDP between 1999 to 2007 and then switched to the APC from then to 2017. They call them what? Terrorist organizations, that they involve themselves in extortion, bullying, and even killing during elections. They also infringe on human rights. And one of them is when you refuse to allow people cast their votes at the polling units during elections, thuggery and criminality during elections when they want to exercise their rights at the polling units. So the question now came to bear that what do you consider to be the activities of a terrorist organization? And they say when you impede people from exercising their franchise. Well, the APC has written and said, you cannot declare us a terrorist organization. You need to retract that. We'll see how that goes. In the comment section, tell me what you think about those developments. We must collectively make sure that Nigeria is better for all of us. Anybody who wants to be in charge of this country is in charge of everybody. Insecurity is plaguing the entire nation, and the president needs to do something about it. A couple of people think that the president's administration is too ethnic. I don't know how true that is because most of their appointments are basically between the North and the Southwest. Well, I think the Southeast have given up hope that they will ever be considered. Some people say because the Southeast, they don't give the president any vote, supposedly, and so why should he consider them? But there's something. When you become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you embody the entire region of the country, whether they voted for you or not. So it is your responsibility to implement true federal character, as is in the 1999 Institution as amended. But it's quite unfortunate the kind of politics that is being played here, which was experienced from the previous administration of Late Muhammadu Buhari. All right, let's know what you think. Bye for now.